Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Mitch. I hope you've had a good Monday. Chances are you've had a pretty eventful Monday, weather-wise, if you're in the southeast, all the way up through the mid-Atlantic and portions of the mid-south. Just a crazy dynamic system. We can go on and on about it, but anywhere from as much as 7 to 8 inches of snow reported in southern sections of Tennessee and northern Alabama. Thunder snow reported in the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina and areas of Virginia. I saw a report of it's 14 inches of snow in Delaware. And then the under the radar threat that ended up really unfolding that we mentioned last night and yesterday was the crazy winds, such a tight wind gradient out there, and a deepening low pressure over the Carolinas. Really got this crazy wind threat going on. And it really persisted through the morning hours. I was out and about in southern sections of South Carolina, and the winds were insane. I sat there and I was watching transformers blow as I was going down the interstate heading back to Columbia from southern sections of the state. Just very crazy. Even if you didn't get severe weather and just got strong winds, I came home to limbs all over my backyard, a piece of siding off my house. But thankfully, it wasn't too bad. But a lot of folks had some damage. So hope you're faring well. Hope you're enjoying the snow if you're a snow lover like me. Big time snowstorm really ended up verifying. So the topic that this video tonight is going to be another significant snowstorm potentially developing as soon as the next 48 to 72 hours for areas of mid-Atlantic, maybe portions of the South, and then more so the Northeast. Virginia, you could be under the gun again. Portions of Tennessee in the beginning stages of this storm could see snow. So there's so much to talk about. And guys, I just want to say thank y'all for the amazing support. I'm well on my way to 10K subscribers. You guys, you've said such nice things, and I really appreciate y'all. Y'all just give me just a guy who has a passion for the weather, just an opportunity and a platform to talk about what I love. So thank y'all for trusting me. I appreciate all the support. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button for me. I try to keep y'all updated every single day. If you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray for you guys. It gives others an opportunity to do so. There's also a way to join my channel. It's just a way to support me monthly. Currently, I have 7 members, and I really appreciate you guys. But I appreciate everybody who tunes in. And I'm very excited about the future of this channel, especially this year. It's already off to a good start. So let's get going. A lot to talk about. So what we got going on, this system moves on through this cutoff low from the main jet. Really got going, got negatively tilted, produced just a dynamic system. Here comes just a wholesale trough. This is a more typical system. Trough starts to dig down as we get into Wednesday evening. This is a cold front moving into into the northern Midwest, and then the Ohio Valley. This begins to set the stage, and the jet stream begins to lower in here as we're getting going. Sorry, I got a sneeze wanting to come, and it's gone. Okay, so the jet stream's digging here. You've got a cold front digging here, and as the jet stream digs, the storm track digs. So as we're getting into overnight, Thursday into Friday, low pressure begins to develop along this jet, and with this cold front and with cold air right in here, low pressure begins to develop, and then a chance for a low pressure track to dip down into here, and then potentially we might be talking about the N-word as far as nor'eastern for areas in the Northeast. We have to watch to see if there's some differences between operational runs and the ensembles, and really the ensembles is the important runs, and honestly the ensembles are the more snowier runs on the GEFS and the EPS ensembles. But cold front dig here. Trough digging here. You got a ridge building in the west, which allows for this trough to dig, and this sets up for the potential for a snowstorm. So going on here, we're going to get a closer look at all this, so stay with me. I'm going to talk about the threat for the southern side of this too, for areas of Tennessee might see snow that just saw snow last night. Crazy times as we've just made a totally big time pattern change here. But here you go. You got 2 phases of this storm. You get this moist air that builds in this moisture right here. Then the cold part of the storm. It looks more typical of a winter storm developing for the eastern U.S. And you also got a big time storm moving into the west, more big time mountain snow. But here you go. You got this the southern and the northern stream that begins to connect over here in Tennessee. As early as Thursday evening, maybe a band of wintry precipitation and snow across Tennessee, maybe as far south as northern Mississippi and Alabama. Get into the overnight hours, maybe more snow into the evening hours into northern Alabama that just saw several inches of snow, even thunder snow in northern Alabama. And then look at this, almost, well, basically the entire state is snowing as we get into Thursday evening. This low pressure right here begins to develop over the same areas that the low pressure just went over. This dynamic system just went over earlier this morning. As you see the closing off of this low pressure right here over South Carolina, this begins to move over Virginia. On the northern side, you got plenty of Arctic air beginning to move in, and you have snow in these same areas. But it looks like the snow shield is much further north. Therefore, most of West Virginia gets hammered here. Washington, D.C., you're going to be flirting more with that rain and snow line with this event. I really think y'all will be as you get into Friday morning. But you look at this, you look at the European, and this is a wholesale major winter storm. How significant will it be? Well, it just depends on how close this low pressure gets to the coast and how much more cold air with a high pressure at bay really forces cold air into the system. But as we're getting into Friday afternoon, this starts to really deepen and potentially get into a nor'eastern phase and stage here, and starts unloading snow in Boston as you get into your Friday afternoon. Now you look at the operational GFS, and it flattens this thing out as the two streams never connect, and about all you get is a big penetration of cold air and then maybe a wave of some rain and wintry precipitation in the deep south. But let me tell you, nothing supports the operational GFS right now. I'm just showing you because it's model guidance, and I don't want to just show you all the aggressive, heavier snow solutions. But this would show a band of light snow moving in Thursday afternoon to northern Alabama, maybe even northern Georgia. Then it gets sheared out. And then a low pressure pops off here in the overnight hours of Thursday into Friday. Snow begins to develop in the same areas that just got hit this afternoon. Washington, D.C., a band of light to moderate snow. This would basically be a light to moderate event in general. Cold air moves in, and then this storm basically phases a little too late as it gets going well off the coast of the mid-Atlantic and southeast. Take a look at, the northeast. Take a look at the Canadian. It definitely supports the European. Really develops here. Shows the same thing as the Canadian, as the European. This is why I really think there is going to be more wintry precipitation in the south. Look at Canadian breaking out snow as early as Thursday afternoon into Tennessee, maybe getting into areas of northern Alabama and Mississippi. Brings a nice moderate band of snow into the western backside of the Appalachian Mountains. And then showing more rain turning to snow in northern Alabama. Low pressure showing the kind of same similar track as the European, and then turns into a big-time snow event for Washington, D.C. again, Philadelphia, potentially Baltimore, New York City, and Boston. So we know that, and we're going to focus in more we're going to get more detail on all of this stuff as we get each day closer, which obviously we're already inside 100 hours. Heck, we're inside 75 hours. But as a closer look at the European, look at the snow breaking loose here. And look at this band of heavier precipitation beginning to develop in response to this developing low pressure in northern Alabama and Georgia. And it reminds me kind of how it unfolded last night, except this is not the same kind of system. The system last night got kind of cut off. It was more like an upper level low and a powerful negative tilted storm that really got cut off in the mainstream of energy and kind of became its own thing. This will be a phasing storm, and as you're getting into Thursday evening snow around Knoxville, the same areas that saw snow this morning, you got heavy snow moving into the mountains. Heavy snow much further north into the Ohio Valley. Check out the Ohio Valley getting some snow. How far north will this get? This storm has north trend written all over it, meaning this is going to potentially trend north, I really think, which is not going to help out Washington, D.C., because the more this trends, the more you get warm air advection, basically meaning you get closer to the low pressure, which brings its own warm air, if you will. And you're not going to have a favorable setup if this low pressure gets too far north. But this is a heavy band of snow moving through western and northern Virginia, and into West Virginia, into the Pennsylvania, which almost the entire state of Pennsylvania got blanked from the storm today. This looks like it might be your event. But even look at the Delmarva area, more snow. Some of y'all areas got over a foot of snow today. But New Jersey, there was a big-time cutoff in New Jersey today. It was brutal. I was watching it on radar. Areas of southern New Jersey got over a foot of snow in some spots. Central and northern New Jersey almost got zip nada. So really crazy. And also something we're not talking about much is the big-time Arctic intrusion of cold air, which will fire off these lake effect snow bands, which would produce significant snow bands off the east side of Lake Michigan here and all the Great Lakes into here. So this will be a big deal also. You get a little bit closer look up into the northeast, and here comes the snow moving into New York City, to southern New England. This might be your event. So it's almost like today, right? The Mid-Atlantic got their snowstorm, which they deserve it, you guys. You know, Washington, D.C. has really been screwed the last 10 years, I would say. So they definitely cashed in today. But for the more areas of the northeast and southern New England, this could be y'all's storm. Low pressure right off the coast beginning to deepen. Heavy bands of snow pivoting into southern New England and Boston. This might be your storm. A quick look at the NAM, which is in range now, and we'll take it all the way out into the end of the NAM, which isn't always the most reliable, but it starts to show the storm coming together. We're actually already in short range modeling here, but it begins to show this low pressure developing in the deep south and a band of snow beginning to move through in the afternoon hours of Thursday of Tennessee, maybe northern areas of Mississippi and Alabama. And but the NAM, I will tell you, has more of that GFS look, as it has low pressure way out here and the storm not really phasing together. But as far as snowfall accumulations, we'll look at the European. Do not look at this right here. This is 24-hour accumulation. Here comes the storm we're talking about. Tries to pump out a few inches of snow into Tennessee, Kentucky. This would be a nice winter storm. Several inches, a half a foot of snow in West Virginia. Southwestern Virginia getting hit again. Northern Virginia getting hit really good again with several inches of snow. Washington, D.C., 3 to 4 inches. And then it really cranks up in southern New England, where you could get, well over a half a foot of snow into this system. You look at the EPS ensembles. Do not look right into here. This is skewed by the storm going on right now, or what happened today. Look into here. Watch right in here as it begins to blossom. This is what you want to look at. So this is kind of skewed a little bit by the storm that's trying to say it's going on here. This is the 12Z run. So this is kind of telling us where it was still supposed to be snowing today, but this storm is already over. So honestly, not the best thing to look at. But look at the EPS ensembles. Do not look at this. This is the storm that happened today. But here comes the storm. As we get into Thursday into Friday, look how much further north this snow is. This is going to be a much further northern riding storm and a more classic storm for this time of the year. Now, you look at the GFS here, and like I said, this really, really pops this really off a little bit too late. And it starts to get cranked up here, but it's a little bit too late. But I will mention it does not match its ensemble. So this is the GFS run, right? Hardly no snow. I'll take a look at the snowfall accumulations here, right into here, and look at it. Doesn't hardly show any snow. Maybe a few inches of snow in the Delmarva area, and maybe an inch of snow into areas of the Mid-South. But you look at the GEFS ensembles and look at all these areas in blue showing 3 to 4 inches in the big cities, 5 inches in Boston, and basically the mean is a lot more north, and it's showing a lot more snow, a lot more north. So to me, that tells me that the GFS operational run is all on its own, and its ensembles are showing much more snow further north. And even that's a nice mean for Kentucky and Tennessee this far out. And I say this far out like it's really far out, but there's still a lot of time for this to work with. But that's a nice inch to almost inch and a half in areas of Tennessee. So maybe y'all guys can see even more snow. But as far as the EPS ensemble mean for the low pressure, here's our storm that just is moving on through. Here comes our other storm, and here it is. Look at the spread, though. Especially once you start cranking this storm off the coast of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. There is such a spread with this low pressure. And each one of these L's are the center of this low pressure that's going to be responsible for producing all the precipitation that will be in the form of rain and snow. And yeah, obviously, if you have these more northwestern L's, then that means you're basically the entire New England and Mid Atlantic is probably going to see all rain. But if you have these events, these L's that are right into here, these low pressures, this would be perfect right into here for a big time snowstorm from New York City, Philadelphia, maybe even Washington, D.C., Boston, and all those cities right into there. We have to see how these come together. But then these storms really begin to deepen. Look at all the millibar pressures here, sub 990s as this really begins to deepen and really turn into a nor'eastern. It might hit areas of Canada pretty hard. So I will mention right now, this is off the National Weather Service, the Hazards Outlook. It's already highlighting this area for heavy snow January 6th through the 7th for the possibility for heavy snow. This even extends into areas of Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and all these cities you see and portions of these states. Much below average temperatures moving in also mashes with this precipitation. Therefore, you get a winter storm, more heavy rain for the deep south. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. We're going to be active. Hope you guys enjoyed the snow day. I'll keep you all updated here in the coming days. God bless everybody.